Leslie is a great musician, and very rare that you get good musicians and good record producers in the same person.
Well, Leslie is one of those fortunate combinations, what the English call a muso producer, someone coming from a playing background. So he appreciates players.
On the recording Soulmates, it was particularly easy this time because up until this record, we were developing a relationship, but then by the time this recording took place, we had already matured as friends.
You know, Leslie is really trying to do something for his heart, for his soul, to represent the music properly by bringing in the players that he hears who are best capable of realizing this dream.
I think what I enjoy most is the meaningfulness, politically, socially, and otherwise, of the Mandoki lyrics.
Leslie and Laszlo on Soulmates have come up with a collection of pieces that are very much a signature of who they are. I really think what is special and different about this project is that they make all of us work together.
They have very specific people in mind who they want to play together in even odd groups, like me and Al Di Meola going back and forth. I mean, that's not an obvious call.
Playing the flute passages, it's interesting just to find the little lines that you can offer up to blend in with the music and offer some decorative element or some to reinforce some other piece of music that's already there. So it's a challenge.
They also leave a lot of room for accidents to happen, and accidents are what make music really cool. I think they prefer the spontaneity. That's the jazz sensibility.
We all know each other very well, and we all come from a very similar place. We all come out of the fusion school, and that means that these are educated, brilliant musicians.
And so it's gratifying to work for a producer like Leslie. It's great, even to have to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, to come here and be able to do that.
Their writing signature has become, a stamp now with lots of different elements of jazz rock mixed with pop in a beautiful way.
They're really wonderful people, very talented, and they're very serious about what they're doing, which makes our job so much easier.
And there's one other quick thing I have to mention. The material's really good.
It's a beautiful sight. Sign of the times. Deep the night floor. Watching the world.
The music was very well thought out and not easy to play. It was a very well written and somewhat complicated.
We are soulmates in that we all seem to come out of the same genre. We all seem to come out of the same form of music.
And we gave some input what we thought about the arrangements, but basically everything was written and expertly written by the Mandoki group.
We enjoy Leslie's writing and his conception, and enjoy working with him and try and bring our own musical sensibilities to it. And I think he kind of writes with us in mind as well.
Anytime this crowd of people gets together for an event, I know it's going to be a big event because all of them are absolutely top of their game.
Nights I am watching the world. Watching the world. It's a suicide smile, a sign of our time. These pictures of life. People, nights I am watching the world.
so you add to these wonderful singable melodies, Leslie's lyrics, and you have a very strong statement, and they become unmistakably Mandoki albums.
The recording process that took place on Soulmates is one that revolves around an older way of recording, one that we've come to miss a little bit with an analog approach.
The very fact that Leslie works entirely with analog gives it that wonderful, big, broad sound.
So they're back to that human quality.
Mich sprechen die Menschen an und mich spricht das Material an. Und mir gefällt die Vielfältigkeit auf diesem Album. Auch die Tatsache, dass diese Vielfältigkeit mit ganz herausragenden Charakteren besetzt ist.
Leslie seems to get together a very interesting group of people. Well, he sort of pushes the boundaries on pop a little bit, I mean, I think he has what it seems to me is some very pop-based songs, and he gets myself and people like Meola and Anthony Jackson, people that can sort of push the boundaries on pop music a little bit if you want us to.
They're great guys. It's always some really good music. For this particular time in the music business, it's rare because some guys, they actually get real musicians together and you really play. It's not all machines and programs. Not that anything is wrong with that, but whenever these guys call, I know they really want me to play the bass, and that's always beautiful.
Also, The Other People was very well conceived and very well thought out by Leslie himself, which was a very big compliment, I think. So he is a very excellent musician.
Dieses Projekt ist sehr, sehr gut gecoacht. Also, das ist eine ganz herausragende Eigenschaft von Leslie, dass viele Menschen zusammenführen kann, in einem Projekt bindet, daraus etwas Schönes gestaltet.
Especially with Leslie's background being Hungarian and the history of what has gone on in this country and how he fled the communist imprisonment to go to another country and make it as a musician is very admirable. Also admirable for him to try to do something in a pop vein, but stretch the limits of pop music by adding names that don't have so much association to this kind of music, to give it an artistic boost, is admirable.
To some of us players, there are heroes here.
Jack Bruce is a great guy because of he's legendary as a musician, as a singer, as a songwriter, as a bass player.
He's one of the greats. He's a legend,
And a guy who has a lot of real soul.
Cream war für mich lange Zeit mein absoluter favorite.
To some extent, I learned how to play practicing along with Cream albums. where, of course, I was listening to Jack Bruce.
They don't make any more Jack Bruces.
The nice thing about the music and the project is that everything is written with the people in mind who are doing it. So when you actually take part, you just feel that it's your thing, you know, as much as you're not just joining in, but it's actually your thing. And that's the nice thing about it. I like it very much.
It's an honor to be involved.
But every time we get together, it's something new and something original, something very warm, and something we enjoy very much.
Well, Leslie is very outgoing and more in person, and it's hard to separate him from the project, or any of these guys from the project. They're so warm, and they're so in love with music and life, and it's just kind of one thing. You can't really separate the project from the inventors of the project.
I think it's great that they have the energy to try to put all this together, because it's a very involved project, and those kind of things are really hard to do, but I think they do a great job with it.
A lot has to be said for Leslie Mandoki's personality and how he can bring everybody together. But that's a great testament to his ability to produce. You know, great producers pull people together and have a good way with them.
He's a guy who I suppose is very rare, in as much he's a very musical producer.
He has people around him that love him, and he's assembled musicians around him that love him.
He's a very conscientious, very hard-working man. Probably works too hard, and a very passionate man who has a lot of belief in the power of music and the sophistication that comes with turning pop music forms into something a little more mature and detailed. It is essentially a pop structure with a lot of detail and adventurous musicality. And I think Leslie has brought these elements together.
His passion is deep, man. I mean, what can I say? I mean, if he wants something, he'll get it, no matter what.
He is the general in charge of a very professional army, and he's a good general. He knows how to make this army fight for the music he believes in.
When I come over and work for Leslie, all of the pressure is on Leslie, and therefore, because he's my friend, and because I love him so much, I want to give him the best that I have. It's a thing for my soul that I want to give him, that he can put on his Soulmates album. You know, it's such an honor to come and work with all of the great musicians that he assembles. But once again, it's a total pleasure to come and work with Leslie himself.
We come from similar backgrounds in that we always liked fusion music, as it was called for a while, or jazz rock. In other words, kind of grown-up rock music, if you like. So that's why I think he came up with the title. Soul, obviously relating to the kind of funky music that we grew up in with together, and mates being, you know, that we're lovers.
I got to jam with some of my childhood heroes, and we've all become friends.
You'll have to sing those Leslie Mandoki blues.
he's a wonderful guy. He's become a very close friend of mine. After doing a few records, this trip, coming out here and hanging out with him, spending time with him and his family, were absolutely wonderful people. You know, it just makes me smile. When I see him, I would love to work with him anytime he wants me to play. I'm there.
Well, he's a very warm person, but I think his great talent is the vision that he has when he's writing the songs or coming up with the ideas. He actually can hear who's going to be doing what, how it's going to be realized and who's actually going to be doing it. I think this is a great talent. So I think it's that's a great talent to have, you know. The one that comes to mind, the greatest person who had that kind of talent was Duke Ellington that I can think of. He knew exactly who should be in his band.
He's like the Hungarian Quincy Jones. I mean, as far as like, they're pop songs, but then there's a jazz sensibility and improvisational sensibility that I've never heard before.
I think it's very important that Leslie's created music which is essentially pop music, but given it the breadth and depth of sophistication that comes from very strong musical input of other people. I think lyrically it's very personal to Leslie. We have to try to get into the mind of Leslie to understand his background and where he comes from and sing those songs for Leslie, because it's his passion, his belief. You have to try to learn to get a little bit behind the lyrics and understand the mind of the person. See the pictures that they saw that made them write those words down.
I think categorically it's in a class all its own. Every one of the characters on it, everyone gets to shine. You know, you can't bring the Brecker brothers in and not have Brecker brothers shining on it. You know, Mike Stern, Steve Lukather, Ian Anderson, Jack Bruce, David Clayton-Thomas. I mean, these are, my God, these are some of the very standard posts that the industry stands on. I learned so much from all of these guys, and to come in and be able to work with them and make the kind of music that Leslie's trying to achieve and successfully trying to achieve. It's such a wonderful feeling that he's put together this 80 minutes of a musical snapshot of the whole industry.
Bobby sings on a lot of the stuff, and he's really a fine singer. I mean, a classic male tenor rock singer, you know, big range of, he's the Pavarotti. I mean, Bobby is, I guess there are probably 3 or 4 other guys that would come to mind. Chris Thompson is another one with that skill. I mean, they really are the Pavarottis of rock. You know, they have a big voice and a big range, and they have great skill at knowing how to work the melody and how to put a little decoration in.
Ian, God bless Ian. I had a ball. I had a gas. I mean, when we finally finished with "The Sunshine of Your Love" with Jack Bruce singing, I was in heaven.
It makes you feel very warm and human. So I think it brings a bit of humanity back into your life, you know, being a part of something like this.
I got to play "Sunshine of Your Love" with Jack Bruce. I mean, how cool was that?
It's getting it down. When life closes your tired eye, so be with you, my love.
Leslie Mandoki will always be in the middle here. And, with each project, and I was on the first one, but with each project album he does, it becomes a little closer to being we're like almost like a local band. We're melding together as a group now, and each one of them feels a little more like, wow, let's get the band together and play a concert.
Let me in, I insist.
How you doing?
How you doing, man? You alright?
Yeah. Sorry, the shake just came myself.
Ah! Hey! How you doing? Oh, the whole gang is here. Oh, hey, Al. Lovely to meet you, man. Pleasure to meet you. See you, man. This is a real honor.
Pleasure.
Big fan. All that, love your work.
The mind blower.
I like when they come in and never even met.
Whoever do it.
And hide inside our poetry. What a day for a daydream. Ride to the secrets of fly over the rainbow. Just move to the rhythm of time. What a day for a daydream. What a ride to the secrets.
What are we doing up so early?
How you doing?
Real good. Real good. I'm lying. I'm lying.
Hey, Sreepy, Bobby, come on. Lily.
Ian. How you doing? How are you, man?
I do.
Just when I was in bed wetting sleep, George called and said, where are you?
Got to get it right. I'm safely out of reach at the fountain.
Okay. If you can make me look like Jack, that would be great.
Well, yeah.
Let's paint the picture how life should be and hide inside our poetry.
So far, so good.
What a day for a daydream. What a
My public awaits.
fly over the rainbow. Just move with the rhythm of time. What a day for a daydream. What a ride through the secrets of life. Fly over the rainbow. Stop drowning in the river of my time.
Come on, please. You can,
Let's paint a picture how life should be and hide inside our poetry. What a day for a daydream. What a ride through the secrets of life. Fly over the rainbow. Just to move to the rhythm of time. What a day for a daydream. Ride through the secrets of life. Fly over the rainbow. What a day for a daydream. What a ride through the secrets of life. Fly over the rainbow. Just move to the rhythm of time. What a day for a daydream. What a ride through the secrets of life.
the left, one to the right.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's really a musical statement, being that it's all done real. No computers, no digital fixing, or what you're hearing is really went down. So for that, I champion that concept.
Well, I think that that this particular album is a very brave thing to be doing at the moment, at this particular moment in the development of popular music.
Leslie did the Soulmates in analog, and I really appreciated that because this is the real form of recording to me. All of the computer-generated stuff is it's great and everything, but there's a warmth to the analog that has a wonderful quality, and it's a craft all its own. Actually, it's almost a lost art.
We've done our things, we're doing our things, but we've made our statements, and some of us, like Ian and Leslie and everybody, we've actually changed the direction of music in certain ways.
Aber da ist eine ganze Menge Respekt natürlich voreinander. Ob das jetzt Ian Anderson ist oder Bobby Kimball von Toto. Und ich empfinde es geradezu als eine Ehre, mit diesen Leuten zusammen auf einem Album stattzufinden.
You know, the performance is what Leslie's looking for, I guess. He's the mastermind, and it's we just turn up for work.
It's the same style of music that I like a lot, so it was easy for me to slot myself in and be a part of the project.
When I was asked to participate, I felt like, sure, I'd love to do it. It gave me a reason to feel good about myself, that I can hold my head up in this company.
And once they like you, they'll stick with you, and that's been the case. And I'm really happy and honored, and say thanks very much for hanging in there with me.
It means more than words can say.
To be involved in a wonderful album with some great musicians, and usually it's very challenging musically, so I enjoy it very much.
The songs on this CD in particular are the best they've ever done.
Das ist allemal ein Album, welches man sich sehr gut reinziehen kann und welches viel Spaß vermittelt und Spaß macht.
I do think that this particular album is definitely the best thing that the guys have actually come up with. I think without a doubt we've taken it to another level, and I think people will be very surprised when they hear this new material.
Our instincts have meshed very well, so I'm pleased about that.
It's just a group of good friends who are celebrating a job well done.
We're just like a band. That's the nice thing. When we get together, we become a band.
And I was very happy to be involved in the last one, and it was such a great record. Of course, when they called me again to do this one, I was more than happy to do it.
I'm glad that I'm a part of it, just to play with these guys. And what can I say? It was great.
Wir strengen uns alle an, ein gemeinsames Ziel zu erreichen, und die vielen Barrieren oder die vielen kleinen Hindernisse, die es normalerweise in diesem Beruf gibt, in vielen Fällen, die scheinen hier nicht zu existieren. Also es gibt eine sehr homogene Haltung unter den Musikern, und die ist menschlich und auch handwerklich gegeben.
Our world, our culture would be a horrible place without music and art and film. If the music is sincere, and if it reaches X number of people, whatever that might be, and makes somebody's life brighter for a day, a period of days, a period of months, and creates a lasting memory for someone with one song or something, then it's all for the better. It's all done something useful and good for the world in some small way.
A day for a daydream. Fly over the rainbow. Gucci.